Hello and welcome to the Gamers Table. It is Monday and we're reviewing Arctic Scavengers. Cold.
Could be in Canada.
Nuclear winter of some sort of disaster. It's freezing.
We're tired of winter, but we're not tired of this game. Arctic Scavengers is a cool game. A cool deck building, deck tweaking combat game. In the year 2097, the entire Earth was enveloped in a cataclysmic climate shift, plunging the globe into another ice age. Over 90% of the world's population was eliminated, driving the survivors to band together into loose communities and tribes. Each player is the leader of a small tribe of survivors. Resources, tools, medicine, and mercenaries are all in scarce supply. Each tribe is pitted against other tribes in a fight for survival. The players build up their tribes, skirmish against other players' tribes, and can even bluff on the way to victory. The leader who gathers the largest tribe will win the game.
I love the handy reference sheet, standard rules, expansion rules. Symbology in the game is great.
The more people you have, the better your chance of winning the game. That's the victory point condition in this game. Yes. But it plays more like a Dominion or something like that because you get 4 refugees. They're all worth 1 person, and they have some fairly minimal abilities that they can do. But yeah, as Chris just gestured, chuck them. Actually, they don't help your deck. It's better to get rid of them. Even though they're victory points at the end, they're just slowing down your hunting for resources.
They're slowing down the deck building machine.
You're pummeling of other players.
Get that machine going.
Yeah, they're the only ones really that are the
Now, Chris just
ones.
said machine, which is the main thing I detest about Dominion, when people just turn it into a game machine. If you're just going to be a computer, go play a computer game. This is not like that. You can't churn out 50,000 cards. I do this and this. I got 40 buys. I got 30 actions. No, you got 1 buy. You got 1 forage. You got 1, and then you're done. No chaining, you frickin' loser. Move it on. Let the next person have a frickin' turn.
You're really limited by the amount of actions. Like the brawler, he's got a shovel. He can help you dig, or he can fight. He's mostly meant to fight. There's not a whole lot of fancy names in here. Brawler, what does he do? He fights. That's what he does. So everybody starts with the 4 refugees that you'll probably end up just chucking. 3 scavengers, which are your jack of all trades. They're good for everything, so they can use any tool.
Each card, as you can see here by the scavengers, which has all the symbols on it, is either a person or a tool. In this case, scavenger is person. You've got your draw ability. You've got your digging ability. You're grabbing cards. So you could. All these things are modifiable by tools or team leaders or something like that. So the higher the number, the better, obviously. This is your food, and then you've got your combat and your victory point value, which is the number of people on it. Here, in that case, it's a 1.
The brawlers, they can use a shovel and they can fight. That's what they do. Shovels are great for going through the junkyard and getting stuff that can be useful, like shovels or med kits or
spears.
Oh no,
pills.
We're going to have to fight the shoveler.
Pills.
Pills.
There's only 1 person who's going to get that job.
Okay.
So the rule book is very nicely laid out. Easy to figure out what's going on for the most part. A couple things are a little bit difficult, but not a big deal. And there's a frequently asked questions that covers a lot of the things with a round walkthrough. And then after that is the expansion rules. So it's an expansion, but it's not really an expansion. It came in the same box, and it's in the same rules books, and it's standard rules and expansion edition. It's not really an expansion. It's, here's the turn right here.
Yep.
And you have several actions. Draw. Any character, any card that has the symbol that looks like the cards allows you to draw more cards from your deck. The dig allows you to dig into the cards that are piled on this. And every shovel you have, if you have 3 shovel worth, allows you to draw 3 cards. You can only keep 1. Mr. Chain and cards, 1 card you can keep. No matter how many you look at, you can keep 1. The rest of them go to the bottom.
1 card.
Then hunt. Produces food. It's basically your gold. It's produced however many food you produce, you can spend on that turn. You don't save it up. You don't get tokens for it. You just use, right now you have 4 food.
If you had 1 food, you could buy a scavenger.
Yes. Jack of all trades. Now under that is the crossed weapons, which is the fight. They're used during the skirmish. They can fight themselves, and they can use weapons like a pickaxe that you can jab into somebody's head.
They can fight themselves.
Or a net.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Or a spear. Whatever you like. Now, on top of those 4 things that you can do, you have 2 free actions. Hire allows you to buy any one of the mercenaries from the pile.
Whenever you go to do anything in here, like say especially the combat, each person can only hold or use 1 tool, whether it's a spear or a shovel or anything like that, so you have to match them up evenly. So sometimes you might want to, if you're going to whittle your deck down, if you got too many tools, get rid of them.
There are 2 things to use to buy. You can use the food that you have generated this turn, or any meds you happen to have in your hand from med kits or pills. And the other option you have is trash. Now here's where it's different than all the other deck building games. You can trash as much of your deck in your hand as you want. You got 4 crappy cards, trash them. You're not just trashing to make your deck better. You're being a douchebag because you're putting them into this pile. Now when the next guy, and you push them in and you shuffle them, now when the next guy goes digging, who's putting all these refugees in the pile? I'm finding a bunch of corpses, man. I don't want... Actually, he's not just him. We all do it now because it's the best way to play the game. But that is a little bit of screw up. Now, the other thing Ken mentioned is bluffing. Any cards you don't use on those actions are left over for the skirmish that you don't do until the 3rd round. So you have a chance to build up a bit before it starts. But you bring 4 cards face down. You're saying, I'm taking 4 cards with the skirmish. They might be fighters. They might be non-combatants that are just going to stand there and watch. You could just have thrown a pile of shovels that was left in your hand there. They don't know. So you put 4 cards down and they go, ooh.
No, you throw down a bunch of crap, it forces the other guy to 3 things. Like, gee, do I want to buy something or do I got to try and beat what he's just put down?
Now, and one more thing before I let Chris talk, because he's dying to talk about these games. I'm not going to let him. On this pile, with the fist indicator, are the contested resources. This is the game's timer. When this pile runs out, game ends. These are things like families that are like 4 or 5 people, big
tribes members,
weapons, grenades, sled dogs, wolf packs, all sorts of things. So this is a good pile to get into. And the guy who's got the first player currently, called the Initiator, gets to peek at that card and see what it is. So then we see, Chris only threw 1 card down. Maybe what's on the top of that stack is not so good.
Hey, see that timer going over there?
There's 10 minutes left.
Shut up.
Anyway, I'm finished now. I've told about everything but the expansion.
And before Chris can talk, I was say, for every person you have, if you got a tool, you need to match them up. You can't have like 2 tools per person or anything like that. So now you can go ahead. There you are.
Wrapping up for Arctic Scavengers. Hey, echo machine without even having to echo.
That was loud.
Theme is a post-climactic apocalyptic change, turning everything into a snowy wasteland where you're trying to gather a tribe up and be the most powerful tribe. And it's there, but it's a deck building game. The theme doesn't really matter all that much.
How's this fit in with global warming, though?
Global warming doesn't necessarily always mean warming.
Or climate change.
Call Al Gore and ask him to explain it to you.
Or David Suzuki or something.
Is he still alive?
Like he needs more attention.
Anyway, easy to play. Yeah. It did not take much for me to learn this game by reading the very brief and concise rulebook and explaining to Chris and Ken. We were all playing right away and having fun with it. And that's the third one. Is it fun to play? Yeah, it is. Whether or not you're winning the game, you're engaged all the time. You're always involved in the skirmishes. You're never left out of anything. So, gee, here's another one. It's hitting all of the numbers. I give Arctic Scavengers an 8.5.
Definitely one big thing I know you don't like about Dominion and other deck building games where sometimes someone can chain the cards and have really long turns. This one, it's you do this, you do that. It's quite a bit quicker. Like there's definitely still difficult choices to be made, whether you hold your cards back for the skirmish or maybe go get yourself another hunter or scavenger, whatever you need to win future skirmishes. But yeah, I think this game unlike a lot of deck building games, shines better with more people. You want at least 3 people for this to make the skirmishes interesting. I give Arctic Scavengers an 8.
I like that there's player interaction in this one, and not just, hey, who can
play multiplayer solitaire.
Yeah, playing multiplayer solitaire. Who makes the best use of the cards that are on the table and beats the other person to the game end there. It's not just a little race. This is a true competition where you're fighting over the cards and each other. So, not terribly exciting, but anyway, it's just like these guys have mentioned. It's the insert. The cards are not flush or lower than the rest of the insert. So you're putting your rule book and your other tiles and stuff on top of that, and it doesn't sit evenly, so it's putting pressure on the cards. And when you put the box top on, it's putting more pressure on, and then you put games on top of that, it's pushing, putting more weight on it. You could end up damaging the cards, and your game's not going to last as long. But other than that, very good game. Getting an 8 for me. That's not a good idea.
I didn't look how far up that is. You might be able to just shave a 1/4 inch off the bottom all the way around and let it drop down.
Possibly. Or
anyway,
just
but
cut out the bottom or
that's
something.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So that's it for this episode of the Gamers Table. Tune in next week where we review another game.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Or try to.
Yes, we do the best we can.
Do.
Yes. we do the best we can.
Chris, and you too now. You drinking the Chris Kool-Aid on that one.
I got used to it. You had to beat the guy.
Anyway, back to this game.
Yes. Stay tuned for more Arctic Scavengers after this interlude.
Sorry, you had me a tool.
The tool. Go ahead, tool.
You're the
I got
tool.
2 tools here. I can't use them both. Go away.
This is a fun game.
Not this. Higher.
Just derails the train over and over again.
And back to our regular scheduled program of Arctic Scavengers. Anyway.
It's one small step for man.